ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar, my dear friend. This is video number 2 on Kaivalya Upanishad. This video starts with Brahma is all. He whose helpmate is Uma and who is reached by the meditation described above has no avidya. To the enlightened, he is the self of all. He is all. When the Lord is conceived as associated with Uma, he is said to be the Saguna or conditioned Brahma. That same Lord is the Nirguna or unconditioned Brahma, for when all avidya has vanished, none else will be found to exist beside the Lord who is all. Sa Brahma, sa Shiva, Sandra, so Akshara Param Suvrat hai. स एवं विष्णु स प्राण स कालो अग्नि स चंद्रमा स एव सर्वं यद्भूतं यश्च भवन् सनातनम. He is Brahma, he is, these are stanza number 8 and 9. He is Brahma, he is Shiva, he is Indra, he the indestructible, the supreme, the self-luminous. He himself is Vishnu, he is Prana, he is time, he is fire, he the moon, he himself is all what has been and what is yet to be, the eternal. He is Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Sankara and all other gods. He is fire, the sun, the moon and time. The 11 senses, the Antahkarana in its 4 aspects, the 5 pranas, the 5 Mahabhutas, the main and the intermediate quarters, the up and down, all beings of life, the Brahma's egg or the mundane egg itself, which is the body of the Viraj himself, the Hiranyagarbha, Jiva and Ishvara, Maya and its modifications, the manifest and the unmanifest, what was and what is yet to be. All these are the Maheshwara and none else. Just as one man alone becomes many in dream, so the one deity exists as many. Just as the city of the Gandharvas appears in the sky where there is really no such city, so all this manifold material existence proceeds from, appears, endures, and ultimately dissolves in the single bliss Atma. Knowledge of Brahma is the sole path to liberation, except by a realization of the one secondless Atma, except by realizing beyond all doubt that the one self is in all beings and all beings are in the one self. There is no other way for liberation. There never was in the past nor will even be in the future. Accordingly, the Shruti says. Stanza number 9 and 10. ज्ञात्वा तं मृत्युयति नानः पन्था विमुक्तये सर्वभूतात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि सम्पश्यन् ब्रह्मं याति नान्यहेतुना. Meaning of stanza number 9 and 10. Having known him, one crosses beyond death. There exists no other path to liberation, seeing the Atma abiding in all beings and all beings in the Atma. One reaches the supreme Dharma, not by any other means. Meditation by Parnava. When the meditation practiced on the line recommended above does not lead to the right knowledge of Brahma, then the neophyte should have recourse to the meditation of the oneself by means of Parnava. Stanza number 11. Atma namarnim kirtva parnavam Sotranim Jnanimarthanabhyasat pasam dahati panditah. Meaning, having made the Atma, the Arni, and Parnava, the upper Arni, by practice of knowledge, by repeated churning, the wise man burns up the bond. Two pieces of wood of the Sami tree, respectively termed Uttra Arni and Adra Arni, the upper and lower Arnis are used for kindling sacrificial fire by attrition, one being placed above the other. These two pieces of wood are rubbed together by churning with a stick which has a string running around it. The practice of meditation is compared to the process of churning fire for sacrificial purposes. One's own body, the aggregate of all the seeds of the self, corresponds to the lower Arni, the three labeled Om to the upper one, Manas to the churning stick, the repeated act of meditating to the act of churning, and what is called the Ananda Atman, or the bliss self to the fire produced by churning. That is to say, by a constant reflection and meditation by means of Parnava, of the thought, I am Brahman, the self of all, the non-dual self manifests itself in the heart of the yogin. Once this fire of the non-dual self is brought into existence, the yogin will be able to burn up all ajnana and kama which are known by the name of pasha bond, giving rise to the ties of I and mine. When these are burnt up, the self will remain alone by himself. Atma in Jagrat, Swapna and Susupti. It may be asked whence comes the bond of samsara to him who is secondless and who free from attachment is indifferent to all. In reply to the Shruti says, stanza number 11 and 12. Sa ev maya primohitatma शरीरम स्थाय करोति सर्वम श्रिय अन्नपानादि विचित्र भोगई स एव जागृत प्रीतृप्तिमेति. Meaning, it is he who becomes deluded as to the real self by Maya and who seated in the body does everything. He it is who, while awake, attains satisfaction by women, food, drink and other divine pleasures. स्टैंजा नंबर 13. स्वप्ने से जीव सुख दुख भोगता सो माया कल्पित विश्वलोके सुसुप्ति काले सकले विलीने तमो अभिभूत सुख रूपे मति पुनश्च जन्म अंतर कर्म योगात् स एव जीवः सोपिति प्रबुद्धः. Meaning, in Swapna, he, the Jiva, is the enjoyer of pleasures and pains in all world created by his own Maya. At the time of Susupti, everything vanished by darkness, tamas, and wealth. He attains the blessed condition and again in virtue of karma or past birth, the self-same Jiva dreams or becomes awake. The Jiva who burns up all bonds by self-knowledge, by the knowledge that his real self is Brahma, becomes identical with Brahma. In himself he is without attachment and quite indifferent to all. When completely veiled by his own Maya, Brahma is called Purusha or Jiva. Veiled by Maya, which has the power both of concealing the true nature of the self, which is self-luminous and blissful, and of causing engrossment in things external to the self. He lives in the body composed of various seeds, gross and subtle, identifying himself with it. Thus he does many an act and reaps the fruits of his own acts. In the Jagrat state, when external objects are perceived by organs of sensation, he puts on various bodies and enjoys pleasures of or suffers pains of various sorts caused by the external objects, though all the while it is not the real self that enjoys or suffers. When in swapna or dream all the organs of sensation are quiescent, the jiva enjoys and suffers in a world of his own composed of things such as cars, horses, elephants, which are all the creation of Maya, of ignorance and misconception, inasmuch as they are nothing but the revivified impressions which have been left on the manas in the Jagrat or waking state. In Jagrat as much as in Swapna, the Jiva perceives objects which are mere creations of Maya. When in sleep he is unconscious of external objects and all consciousness of the external world is merged in its cause, ajnana, then it is that the jiva enjoys his own inherent bliss but without being aware of it. Thus the same self that has been associated with the Jagrat and Swapna states now passes into Susupti and then he is free from Vikshepa. He is completely shut out from all external world. He then enjoys his own inherent bliss. But being then overpowered by tamas, he rather his manas is not conscious of the fact. Maya is the cause of Atma's sansara. In samsara, as in the Jagrat and Swapna states, we enjoy or suffer in a world of Maya. By Maya, the self becomes variously deluded and is merged in samsara. Just as under the influence of certain drugs and incantations a man loses all knowledge of himself, so under the influence of Maya he knows nothing of the self. While thus causing in Jiva forgetfulness of the self, Maya gives rise to a further delusion. It makes him think that he is a sansarin. This is merely due to his association with Maya. When found associated with thieves, even an innocent man is regarded a thief and punished. There is in reality no Maya in Jiva. Maya itself is a creation of Maya. In Akasa, for example, where there is no form or color, the unenlightened man sees form and color. Though undeluded in himself, the Atma becomes deluded while in samsara, like a man who, however, educated and wise while awake, sees all sorts of unrealities in his dreams. So long as the sleep of Maya continues, there is no end of misery for Jiva. Guru is the deliverer. The Jiva who has been sorely suffering from the throes of samsara is at length awakened by a merciful and gracious Guru. Thus enlightened, he no longer sees any misery at all. The Jiva acquires this enlightenment only as the result of a vast store of good karma he has done in the past. This state of enlightenment is called the fourth state and it is a condition to which very few can attain. Jiva is identical with Brahma. The Atma who is as Jiva causes the synthesis of the whole body and life is identical with Brahma. Purtaraye kridhi yascha jiva tatastu jatam saklam vichitram adharam anand khandbodham yasmin layam yati purtarayam cha. This is stanza number 14. Meaning, And it is verily from him who, as the Jiva, amuses himself in the three bodies that the whole variegated being is born. He is the basis, the bliss, the infinite wisdom in whom the three bodies and all get dissolved. Stanza number 15. एतस्माज्जायते प्राणो मने सर्वेन्द्रियाणि च स्वं वायुज्योतिरापः पृथ्वी विश्वस्य धारिणी. Meaning, from him are born prana, manas, and all the indriyas, the akasa, vayu, light, water, the earth which maintain the whole universe, the gross body, the subtle body, and ajnana constitute the three bodies which are the scenes of jiva's enjoyment. These three bodies become extinct only when the jiva has entered into the fourth state, but not otherwise. So long as jiva is ignorant of his true self, he puts on body after body according to his karma and abundance each when it is worn out and no longer fit for enjoyment. So long as Vidya continues, he is born again and again. He is now a child, then a youth, then a decrepit old man, and then he dies. Then again he is born and passes through all the stages, and so on. Thus, by avidya, he oscillates unceasingly in samsara like the pendulum of a clock. When Jiva attains to the fourth condition, he becomes that being, the absolute Brahma, who is said to be the basis of all existence. He is the self-luminous bliss itself. He brings the whole universe into being out of himself, there being no material causes nor instruments external to himself. From him who in buddhi is born prana and manas, that is, he is the source of all activity and knowledge of kriya shakti and jnana shakti. From him are born all senses, organs, etc. The ground truth. It is this fourth condition which the great gurus, the Mahatmans, teach as the true being of the self to such of their disciples as have purified their hearts of all dirt. This is what the Vedantins call the Mahavakya, the grand utterance whose teaching declaring the unity of Dharma and Jiva is expounded in this Upanishad as follows. यत् परं ब्रह्म सर्वात्मा विश्वयातनं महत् सूक्ष्मात् सूक्ष्मतरं नित्यं तत्त्वमेव तौमेव ततः. This is stanza number 16. That supreme Dharma, the self of all, the great abode of the universe, subtler than the subtle, the eternal, that is thyself and thou art that. Brahma, the infinite, unlimited by space, the self of all, dwelling in the hearts of all beings and one with them all. Thou art that. Though an enjoyer and doer by avidya, thou art in reality none other than the Supreme Brahma. Realization of truth leads to liberation. The Shruti now declares what the fruit is of a knowledge of this truth. Stanza number 17. Jagrat Swapan Susuptiyadi Parpancham Yat Prakashate Tad Brahmamiti Gyatva Sravandhi Pramuchyate. Meaning that which illumines the universe composed of Jagrat, Swapna, Susupti and so on. Knowing I am that Brahma, from all bonds one is released. The, the knower of Brahman, the self-conscious bliss, the self-bonds of egoism. Atma is not identical with the universe. Atma is of a different nature from the whole universe, as the Shruti says. I complete this video here, and the next video will start with stanza number 18. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Namaskar, my dear friends.